What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful.com. It is May 27th. We are a few days removed from AEW Double or Nothing. We're going to make our predictions. We're going to have a bit of a preview. And we got inside the ropes Sondra Ruth. You can see her on Queen Street Posse. You saw her her partner in crime here a couple of weeks ago.
My partner in crime, Jen Louise, was on this program before.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us. I've been meaning to have you on for a long time.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's fun. I was thinking, I told you just off air, I was like, oh, great. Like, I'm going to be doing this the day after AEW. I'm going to remember all of the stories. I'm going to remember the whole card going in. And then AEW was preempted, so never mind.
Well, don't worry. We're going to refresh your memory. And if us making predictions isn't enough for you guys, check out our friends over at WrestleRumble.com. They have the AEW Double or Nothing Pick'em contest. First place wins $1,000. Second and third place, $100. A Fightful viewer who found out about Wrestle Rumble on our last show actually won the $1,000 the last time.
Wow.
One of our mods, Hannah, won a ton of belts over there, and they're doing the Great American Belt Bash as well, where you can win a John Cena US spinner, WCW US title, IWGP, WWE, or the retired WWE US title. You can get $1 per entry for that belt bash, and at Double or Nothing, it's $10 for one entry, $20 for 3 entries, and $30 for 5 entries. You won't just be answering questions like, oh, who's going to win this match? It'll be who gets pinned, who makes the pinfall, how long do these matches go? It's a lot of fun, and if maybe you're just tuning in on a Sunday, you're not that invested, it's a great way to get yourself invested or to get yourself even more excited. WrestleRumble.com. Check them out on Twitter and Instagram at WrestleRumble. I play this myself every single pay-per-view that they do. So I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we do. WrestleRumble.com. But if you guys are here right now watching us live, leave us a thumbs up, subscribe, donate a super chat. You'll get your question or statement read on the air. But are you ready to make some predictions, Sondra?
I mean, probably not, but that's what I'm here to do.
Did we meet each other for the first time at AEW weekend a couple years ago?
I believe so. I think it was the first Double or Nothing in Vegas was the first time I met you, I think.
Yeah, man, it's so weird because there were so many people that I was familiar with, but I had never met because I never did any traveling for work before that weekend.
Right. It's one of those strange things because I think you were talking to Kenny, my other partner in crime, Kenny McIntosh. And I think you were talking to Kenny, and a lot of times when I'm there with him, he's so busy and like scatterbrained and stuff because you know how it is. Like there's so much to do. And so I'm just like, I'm standing there holding the camera bag, just standing there. And I'm just like, Kenny, who was that you were just talking to? He goes, oh, that was Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, now I know what he looks like.
And then,
we ended up like talking and chatting and stuff in media scrum. So it was fun.
Yeah. And then it all came to a halt less than a year later.
Yeah.
And we're back. We're finally back. Are you going to be there this weekend?
I'm not going to be there this weekend. No, which is a bummer. I know. But like, there are so many things happening in Texas right now, which is like about 4 hours from where I live. So like, I don't know. We're still kind of trying to decide if I'm going to be at any of those events, but it's just, there's so much. There's so much all of a sudden. It's like venturing back out into the world. Well,
speaking of so much, they are I don't know if they're kicking it off, but they've got the Casino Battle Royal. So far announced Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Hobbs, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, Jungle Boy, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, Matt Hardy, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., QT Marshall, Penta, Nick Comoroto, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, Blade, Preston Vance, Lee Johnson, and Dustin Rhodes. We don't know who the 21st entrant will be. Who do you think it will be?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Daniel Bryan, like everyone kind of hopes it's going to be. I think that's a pretty long shot. Paul White would be a shout. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we get some Paul White in there, especially because it's a battle royal and he's kind of, he's good at being big in a battle royal and then I don't know, being big. But I don't know, like other than that, I can't think of anyone who would be on the horizon to like come in or make a big return, I guess. I don't know. Is there anyone that comes to mind for you?
I think a good shout for this audience and considering the news lately. I think Nick Gage popping up would be
brilliant.
It would be a nice little nod, and maybe he doesn't come in full time. I don't know if he would even want to, but it'd be a good nod and paying your respect to a guy like that who is sort of getting his flowers right now by a lot of people who didn't know a lot about him. But beyond that, who do you think wins this?
It seems so strange that Christian Cage is in the Battle Royal. Like, I keep forgetting. I'm like, what is Christian doing at this pay-per-view? The hardest working man in AEW that we rarely see wrestle. What is he doing at this? And he's in the Battle Royal. So I don't know. I think Christian might win it and then, go on to a program with that. Other than that, maybe like as an outside choice, like maybe Dustin, but probably not Dustin Rhodes. I can't really think of anyone else. Or like if they wanted to put it on like Preston Vance or something like that as like a really outside, like dark order choice. But Christian would probably be my first choice.
Andrade's another possibility for the special spot.
Oh, that's true. If Andrade's the special spot, then he would probably win.
And if he wins, they can just roll the match all into one with him competing for the AAA Mega Championship. But I think Christian Cage should get down to the last and then get eliminated. I think there should be the tease that he's going to come in and get a quick title shot, but him be like, well, you know what? I lost. I'm going back to the drawing board, because that's his gimmick, is that he outworks everyone.
Right.
So I think that would be a good shout. NWA Women's Championship on the buy-in. Serena Deeb back in action, as we saw recently, against Riho, who is also back. I think Serena Deeb is going to win this. I can't imagine Riho going to NWA tapings. Can't imagine why she would want to do that. But I think Serena Deeb probably wins this match. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it has to be Serena Deeb. I mean, when Riho was AEW champion, she was barely on the program, right? And then I don't see her going to NWA where she's not contracted to be on the program more often. So it wouldn't make much sense to put Riho over Serena Deeb here. I think it's going to be a good match. Like, I look forward to seeing two people without tons and tons of character, but like really good wrestling. I think that's kind of how it's going to go. But I would be very surprised if Serena doesn't win this.
We have Cody Rhodes and Anthony Ogogo. First off, let's make our prediction. Does Cody Rhodes get booed Sunday?
I think he does.
I think so too.
I think he does. He's been kind of like really not likable lately.
I don't think he is not that self-aware. I think he's a very, very smart guy, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Maybe he didn't think that promo was going to get the reaction that it did, but I think that he is smart enough to recognize it now.
He's tuned in enough that he'll have seen the reactions to it, right?
Yes.
So like he knows what's going to be happening here. It's because I don't think people are going to be cheering Anthony Ogogo. Like, I don't think he's so likable that everyone's going to be like, hey, we want the new guy. But I think Cody just kind of is leaving a bad taste in people's mouth right now. And kind of just, he hasn't come across as likable for quite a while, which is so crazy. Because when AEW started, he was I would say one of the best baby faces in wrestling for a while. But, like things ebb and flow. I think he gets booed. I feel like Cody still wins this match because he's Cody, and like there seems to be kind of a lol Cody wins thing, right? Like he just he absolutely wins everything. And I don't know where Anthony Ogogo goes from there, but maybe because we haven't seen Anthony Ogogo wrestle a lot, maybe if he takes Cody to his limit and we actually see more of what he can do, if he can do more, then I don't know, he'll become more of a fixture.
I like that. And I hope they low-key turn like a UK versus US thing, like US-Canada in 97. I think they could do that. But I think this time a lot of people are going to be like, no, Anthony's right.
Yeah.
Like, Anthony's right. But there's plenty of these same issues in the UK as well. But I think the way that outside of the America bashing that Ogogo has had, there's a lot of credibility to what he says, like about how he speaks in some of these interviews. Very excited to see just how this ends up, but I think Cody does win.
Well, and a lot of Anthony Ogogo's tweets have sounded very like babyface too, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like he's come across as very likable online, and just representing your country shouldn't be something to be booed just because you're from another country. I know I work for a UK company, so like,
yes,
I feel all in the middle of this.
I work for a Canadian company, so we're all right.
Exactly. It's just kind of like, I don't really.
The US can piss off.
Basically,
they don't pay us.
No.
They don't pay us.
I live in dumb America. I can't even get my own magazine when it comes out. Like, I have to wait for the mail.
Same.
It's so frustrating.
Oh, so I think Cody's going to win this. Guys, reminder, leave a thumbs up, donate a super chat if you want your question or statement read on the air, and make your predictions at WrestleRumble.com. We've got Hangman Page versus Brian Cage. I think they almost had to have Hangman Page lose, because otherwise it's like, hey, bro, why isn't he getting his title shot? So they had to. And I'm not big on immediate rematches, but for this, it's like, okay, well, there's reason for it. There was a story behind it. He slipped up one time. He got beat up before the match. I think 95% Hangman Page wins this.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if he doesn't. And I think he should at this point, like, because he has had a recent loss. So, we've been there. We've kind of taken him out of title contendership for now, like you said. And Hangman Page is still the guy. Like, he's awesome. Yeah. Like, I love him. I want him to get into title contention again sometime. And I think if he loses here, then he just kind of becomes another dude on the roster and not the cowboy that we love.
We also have the Young Bucks against Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. I love that they have been giving Moxley and Kingston wins along the way.
Yes.
It wasn't just like super team forms. It was, no, they're going to beat the Acclaimed, and they're going to beat Omega and Nakazawa, and they're going to crush some jobbers, and they're going to beat the Good Brothers. I like that, because all I need, give me 4 or 5 wins, and I'll buy a contender.
Well, and give me team camaraderie too, and I will buy them as a team, because I think the fact that they've had them cut these backstage promos together where they've been delightful, like they've just felt like they're pals, and they've obviously known each other for a long time. I'm very much someone who doesn't love just 2 dudes coming together and beating everyone. I talk about it all the time with the Dusty Classic, right? Where it's always like 2 separate dudes who just come together for the tournament and then end up in the finals. It frustrates me to no end. So
and they've done that since the beginning. So it's good to see.
Exactly. So it's nice to see Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston have this camaraderie backstage where they're cutting promos and riffing off each other and acting like they actually know each other as humans and getting wins. I think all of that is kind of built to anticipation. I would love to see Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston beat the Young Bucks here. Like, my heart desires that Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston beat the Young Bucks here. I feel like I'm going to get my heart broken.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Elite is going to ride a hot streak probably until All Out, which is where we're going to see some of this stuff unfold. So I think the Bucks win. Oh, for the first time in my life, I'm going to watch Sting wrestle live, and I don't care that he's a 200-year-old man. It's he and Darby Allin against Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. I actually think that Sky and Page should win this, and I think that Sting should probably eat the pin. I think there should be some sort of reflecting there. And AEW is really, really good at telling these stories. And hear me out. I think he should get pinned with a buckle bomb.
You know what? I could see it happening. Like, I will be nervous. I will be nervous when it happens, because I will just be like, no, protect your baby neck and brain. Please don't hurt yourself. I think that would be the most brilliant storytelling. I'm like, if he is able to take it, then sure. Like, if he can do it and not break into a million pieces, that would be great. Like, I am nervous watching Sting wrestle just because he's old. Like, he's in his 60s.
He is.
Like,
he is old.
And I'm just like, don't hurt yourself, sir. Don't be Terry Funk, please. I mean, obviously he's not being Terry Funk, but you know what I mean, where I'm just like, maybe it's time. But I am kind of excited for the match. I think whereas we were just talking about Moxley and Kingston feeling like a team, even though they were 2 dudes, I feel like Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page just feel like 2 dudes to me. Even though they have cut promos together and they've been like, we are angry about stuff. But I think if they don't win this, then that really doesn't help solidify them as a team if they want to be that going forward. So, like, this is one that I'm kind of torn on, because it seems like Sting and Darby Allin, like in Sting's return and all this stuff, will win because he's Sting. But at the same time, like, they won the cinematic match. I think that Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky should win this 100%. I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like they should win this, and I think that would be the better story.
I think they should probably lean in, especially the night before or tomorrow night on Dynamite. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky should be like, man, everybody says we're can't miss prospects. Everybody says they know we're superstars, but we're not on Dynamite because Sting is every week. And that's maybe the crux of why they're so mad.
And that comes from a place of realism, right? Because how
Yes.
often have we just seen Sting appears to talk to somebody about literally nothing?
To literally not talk to Tony Schiavone because people interrupt him all the time.
It's so frustrating. Like I've gotten this twitch every time I hear Sting will give an interview on AEW Dynamite. I'm like, not again. So I kind of I want to see Sting lose here. I really do.
Well, the crux of why I'll be mad is Britt Baker not winning the AEW Women's title. If that happens, now I had people within the company saying, "Oh, remember, Shida hasn't had a defense in front of fans," and I said, "I don't care."
But she's has.
Yes.
Hasn't she? Like, she's been in Jacksonville. They've had fans there. It's been limited fans, but they've had fans there. That's absolute crap. She has had defenses in front of fans. You don't put her on your program. It is infuriating to me to see Hikaru Shida in the audience for Dynamite as often as she's in the audience for Dynamite, because it's not like it's a travel issue. It's not like it's a she's unavailable issue. It's not like has COVID issue. It's you just aren't putting her on your program, and she's your champion, and it makes me so angry.
She should
flames on the side of my face, Sean. Like, I'm so mad.
She should just crush anybody that has a 3 or 4 match winning streak. Yes. Get those wins up. She's had the title for over a year now, which is very impressive. Mm-hmm. Kudos to her. It is Britt Baker's
more impressive.
time.
You know how it would be more impressive is if she were on the program.
Yes, but I think it's Britt Baker's time. Over 2.5 years, or not over, but it was 2.5 years ago, she was the first signing, and you had everybody, she's Adam Cole's girlfriend. She's the first signing. She'll be the champion immediately. And she's not the champion immediately. And 2.5 years later, it is time. I think she's going to get a big pop, and then the crowd's going to do what AEW crowds do. They're going to boo her because they want to go along for the ride. They recognize the change that she made right before the pandemic and why the content that they're watching is so good with her. So they'll boo her, kind of like they do MJF. But she's got to win this, Sondra. What do you think?
She has to win this. Like, absolutely, 100% agree. This is actually the match that I'm most riled up about on this show. And it's been a very long time where I've been like, I care so much about the AEW women's title, because AEW doesn't seem to care about the AEW women's title a lot of the time. So for me, I'm just like, I want Britt Baker to win. I need Britt Baker to win. I think she has been brilliant. Talking about that first Double or Nothing show that we were at, leaps and bounds Britt Baker has come since then, when she was kind of nice girl Britt Baker who didn't have tons of personality at that point, right? Because she hadn't really leaned into being the role model and the Dr. Britt Baker DDS and all of the stuff that she's been doing. I think her character work's been amazing. And I think if the AEW women's title is going to mean anything on the show, which I desperately want it to, it needs to be held by someone who's going to be on the program and be interesting. I
am completely with you. I'm all for it, and it needs to happen, and it needs to be featured. And they've done better about not doing the 9:30 p.m. women's match that we always used to joke about how it would always be in that slot. And Britt Baker is a big part of that, and she should be very proud of herself for being a part of that.
I mean, it's telling about the AEW women's division. When I was Tay Conchi fighting Penelope Ford, I was like, whoa, 2 characters are fighting each other on the show? That's that shouldn't be something that is notable. That should be something that's more commonplace. And so bring on Britt Baker. Plus, I really want to see her championship celebration with Rebel throwing confetti and the whole 9 yards.
Miro defends the TNT title against Lance Archer. I don't think there's any way they take the title off Miro right now. Right now is Miro the way I always wanted to see him in WWE. And for the first 6, 7, 8 months, a lot of people who are perhaps a little too critical of AEW were like, well, he's not doing much better in AEW than he is in WWE. Well, now he is. He's doing great in AEW. And if you remember, he wasn't ever pinned in AEW. It was always Kip. And I think that they had to show the lighter side. I don't think you could go from the stark contrast of what he was doing in WWE the last time millions of people saw him and then just go straight to, well, okay, we're going right back to Rusev Crush. I think that we had to see that human-friendly side of him to both, one, ease it in, and also see the scary contrast that this guy can make, where he is somebody you want to hang out with, but he's also someone that can break your spine in half and rip it out of your ass if he wants to. How do you think this match goes?
Miro wins. Yes. Miro Day all day long. He has to win this, right? I mean, I agree that he probably couldn't have done this straight away in AEW. I think the Best Man stuff did kind of like kill momentum for him for a while. And I'm so happy to see him away from Kip Sabian. Like, I feel like Kip Sabian was kind of an albatross around his neck. I like Kip Sabian. I love Penelope Ford, but I don't know. They didn't ever fit together very well for me. So when he finally turned on Kip Sabian and was like, no more of you, sir, I cheered. I was like, yes, thank you. This is what I've wanted for so long. And when he won the TNT Championship, I was actually very surprised. Like, I did not expect him to beat Darby Allin for it. So, I mean, for him to lose it right away would just be, I don't know, that would just make it feel like it's Rusev all over again, wouldn't it? And that's not what we want. Like, we want Miro to be the Miro that we know he can be.
Yes, and I think that he will do that in this role. Reminder, guys, leave a thumbs up on this video. It goes a long way in helping us out. We have the AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega defends against Pac and Orange Cassidy. I'm thinking Kenny Omega retains here. You see any chance of him losing in the middle of the belt collector gimmick?
I feel like there's maybe a 1.7% chance that he loses this match, because you can never say never. Things happen. Sometimes they like to be surprising. I don't think this is one of those times. I feel like he's definitely going to win. But I've loved the build to this. Like, Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy was something I kind of wanted to see as a singles match, but throwing Pac in there is not going to make it worse, because I don't know, Pac and Kenny Omega have the history, and Pac and Orange Cassidy have the history. I like all of it, but Kenny Omega is definitely going to retain the title here. Like, I think the elite are just going to keep being the elitists all over our television for a while, and I prefer it to having to cheer them.
And I feel like, God forbid, something happened and Kenny Omega break his ankle in the middle of a match. He's probably not going to say, well, you know what? I should win this match and then vacate it later. He's smart enough to call an audible. And as we saw with Pac and Orange Cassidy, shit happens sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
It happens. Well, I imagine shit is going to happen in Stadium Stampede, Inner Circle, and the Pinnacle. If the Inner Circle lose, they have to split up. And after seeing the contrast in Pinnacle and Inner Circle's promos, I think it's time for Inner Circle to split up. I think it's time for Santana and Ortiz to do their own thing and cut their own promos. I think it's time for Sammy Guevara to do whatever he wants, and for Jake Hager to probably choke some people out in Bellator a couple times a year. And Jericho, I don't know what he's doing, but I mean, his promos are all right sometimes, but to me, I think the group has sort of reached what it's going to reach. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I agree with you, because I think Chris Jericho, like, for a while, Chris Jericho did feel like he was on top and on fire, and he's still great, right? Like, he's still Chris Jericho. It's disgusting how good he is at his job sometimes, because it's just like, how do you do this? But some of the Inner Circle promos have just not really hit for me lately. I've been kind of bored. They feel kind of hokey. It feels like we're just treading water a little bit. And I think everyone in the group still feels like a star right now, like at this point. But I think if the group stays together and doesn't change its dynamic for a long time, I think that could change. Like, I think, you know how sometimes when groups stay together too long and they just feel like it's overkill, and I don't want them to get to the point of overkill, because they've done such a good job of making stars of Santana and Ortiz and of Sammy Guevara and of Jake Hager is like hilarious in the background sometimes. I didn't expect to be entertained by Jake Hager as much as I am.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, I think it's been a really great group, but I think it's time for them to kind of branch out on their own. And I don't know. And plus the Pinnacle's on top of the world, and I really want to see them win a thing.
Yeah, I love the Pinnacle. It has helped out every single person involved. Mm-hmm. We're seeing more character out of Wardlow. We're seeing MJF. Like, before, we saw him cut a lot of LOL your mom promos.
Right.
And now it's like, oh no, that's what he does when he just doesn't want to bother with you. When he really gets mad at you, he says the kind of stuff that he says to Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing,
and it feels like it's something he can sink his teeth into a little bit more. Like, it feels more personal, and it feels like it's coming from the heart. And it's not just him being an asshole for like reasons ? It's like he's an asshole because he really hates Chris Jericho.
Well, guys, we will have full coverage of AEW Double or Nothing this weekend. I'm going to try to stream those scrums live. We will have a live post show with Jeremy Lambert, and I think it's Phil Lindsay that's joining him, and I think Andrew Thompson is also joining him. I'll be back Monday with Denise for the Raw post show, but the AEW Dynamite post show this week, midnight Eastern. Oh boy, Alex will be doing it himself. But Sondra, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at Inside the Ropes, all things Inside the Ropes. I'm I do a bunch of stuff with Kenny McIntosh on our Patreon, patreon.com/Inside the Ropes. I'm also on Queen Street Posse every week with Jen Louise. Yes. Nice branding here. But Queen Street Posse is live on Twitch every Tuesday night. It's at 9 p.m. UK time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central where I live. And Inside the Ropes Magazine, I write for that, InsideTheRopesMagazine.com. Just go to itrwrestling.com. It's kind of the hub of everything. But I'm all over the place, Inside the Ropes stuff.
Well, thank you for joining us. We hope to have you back again soon.
Yeah, I'd love to. It was fun.
Guys, we're out.